Hey guys, Speedster here, and today we're going to talk about how Blizzard might not be done changing TBC and the next wave could be huge. First of all, this is all just fun speculation, and a lot of these ideas came straight from my stream and my previous time playing TBC Classic, so we've been tossing around some wild ones. So let's jump right into it. First of all, like and subscribe. Now let's talk about the big one, and that's going to be badge vendor gear. Imagine a world where tier 5 comes out and you have some bad luck in phase 1 of TBC, and there's items from Karazhan, Magtheridon, or Gruul's Lair on the badge vendor, but only a few rare items for a significant amount of badges of justice. Like, what if Dragonspine Trophy was 200 badges, or Lightning Capacitor, or Spite Blade? Things like this could be a significant amount of badges, and it could be a big grind. They could keep heroics very relevant throughout the phases, especially if new phases come out. Now imagine Black Temple and Highjaw come out, and you can go get your Serpent Coil Braid that you never saw as a mage from the badge vendor for a significant amount of badges. Or you could get Belt of Never-Ending Agony or Light Fathom Scepter. Now, people could say that this makes some of the raids irrelevant, but I think if there are a lot of badges, it's still a huge grind, and you would still go to those raids to catch up, but it makes it so your raid doesn't have to go to the past tier as much, or maybe you just have really bad luck. I remember this happened quite a few times where we didn't even see some of these items throughout TBC, and some of the bosses dropped and we just went to the next phase and skipped it. It keeps heroics relevant in every phase and fun. Now, no one wants to see some of these trinkets or weapons drop once in a blue moon and it goes to one player who quits and doesn't come back, or whatever the case may be. So I want to talk about the next thing that could be possible. Imagine an Undermine Real Crate like Season Discovery, but in TBC. Picture this: for 10 badges, you can buy an Outland supply crate that gives you a chance at ore, herbs, cloth, leather, primals, rep items, things of that nature, maybe even a chance at BOE blues. Why could this work? Well, it gives heroics a long-term replay value. What happens is heroics fall off pretty quickly, especially if they make it so you can jump right into the raids on your alts and things like that. It's great for people to catch up in the game, to farm, especially if boosting is nerfed how it is on the TBC PTR. Then we could see a ripple effect and a huge problem of making gold with bots running rampant in the open world. This could create more instance content with groups, and it's not easy. So Season of Discovery proved that players like the crate systems. Remember world tours of dungeons and SOD? It kept them relevant for a long time. We could absolutely see some of that energy in TBC, and I would personally love that. This is something I would love to add because it's another way of farming. I like to do group content, I like to do dungeons, and it keeps it very consistent and something for you to do for a while. Maybe when you log on with friends, heroics wouldn't feel done after 1 week, 2 weeks. This could keep them relevant for long-term gameplay. Now, another change I want to talk about is simple, but it's powerful. Now, imagine one extra piece of loot per boss in TBC. This has been requested in past versions of Classic, things like that. We played Season Discovery, which had loot drop from the sky, and I think that was a bit too much, I'm not gonna lie. But then we went back to Classic and 40-man raids and dropped 2 to 3 pieces of loot per boss, and I don't think that was enough, especially with a sped up version of Classic. Now, if TBC is sped up at all, I want to talk about this. This could make it a worse time for players. This change could be awesome, I think, and it just gives it like less RNG pain, a little bit more raid satisfaction, and gearing faster, especially for your alts. I don't think it breaks the game. It just makes it a little more rewarding, especially in a post-nerf TBC environment. It could be really nice, and it makes you more enticed to go back and do those raids in later phases because you know you're going to get more loot. Now, the fourth idea is double raid lockouts for short raids like Gruul's Lair or Magtheridon. Now, with content being post-nerf, it would feel amazing to get an extra lockout per week. It would work just like Season of Discovery did, where raids would reset every Tuesday and Saturday. They became static. This could be an awesome change, in my opinion. It could keep those raids more relevant, longer, better, and more active throughout the game, because you don't have to log in just once a week and TBC dies down very quickly in that first phase and people are waiting for the next one. So it could keep you logging in and doing those, especially because they are very short raids. It would feel amazing to just get one extra lockout per week for those specific raids, because they're very short, and maybe Zulaman when that comes out. This is a big one that I want to talk about. This is one of the most hype possibilities, and that is Joyous Journeys in TBC. Now, first of all, Joyous Journeys is a 50% XP buff. Usually it's for the past levels. Imagine Joyous Journeys dropping in the pre-patch alongside Blood Elves and Draenei. The first time we saw this was Wrath Classic and throughout the Classic timeline. So this would be super hype for a pre-patch in TBC or even later down the line. Now you get 50% bonus XP. You can make it just 1 to 60, obviously. It could be great for leveling alts faster, maybe people re-rolling Blood Elves or new mains, or bringing some of your friends back because they don't want to buy that $80 boost that Blizzard put out. Even if boosting is nerfed, people love leveling alts, especially if it's a little bit sped up. And at this point, this is like our third time doing TBC, and I think it could be a fun thing and bring more players back. It's hype. It could be great for the game. One of the last things I want to talk about is class tuning. These wouldn't be huge class changes, but maybe some small utility things and some light damage adjustments could go a long way. Now imagine rogues getting a minor raid utility, something like Tricks of the Trade, but it only gave threat, or they gave them Sebaceous Poison like they did in Season of Discovery, which basically gave them imp expose armor in their offhand, and that would be a nice change. You could use it on only non-player targets, and this could give them a little more utility because rogue is a little bit of the oddball in TBC. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to get in raids, hard to get in groups, doesn't give any party buffs, so that could be a nice change for rogues. The next one I want to talk about is boomkins maybe getting slightly better damage scaling to Starfire or Moonfire, maybe arcane damage as a whole, or better mana sustainability, because people don't play boomkins a lot, and giving them just a slight buff could be good for PvE and PvP, to be honest. Now, the next class we could talk about are Shadow Priests getting a little bit more mana. Shadow Priests have to pop Dark Runes and Mana Pots on cooldown in TBC, and it could stop them from doing their rotation. So I think it would be nice to have them get a little bit more mana return for their spells or something like that. Maybe they get better mana regen when they pop Inner Fire, or a small tweak or rework. Not talent overhaul, just smoothing out some of the rough edges for some of these classes. The last one I want to talk about is Elemental Shaman. Okay, Elemental Shaman, it goes pretty hard in the beginning and then it falls off slightly quickly and throughout the expansion in damage output. So Elemental Shaman getting a slight nature buff could be nice, maybe just slightly 3%, 5% for lightning bolt, whatever it is. That could make it a little more playable and a little more fun, and it wouldn't break the game at all and could help them just go a little bit above in the DPS charts. Now, these are probably the most speculatory and would not happen, but it's fun to talk about it. So I just wanted to bring that up because we brought that up in my stream, and I think it's a fun thing to talk about with TBC on the horizon. We have no date yet. We only have the changes that they gave us, and I really do like the changes that we got so far. Raid-wide Bloodlust, alt-friendly attunements, things like that, more Terracone farming. I think they need to make the game more playable, and it's fixable in the sense of you can improve it slightly. So I love TBC. It's my favorite expansion. Let me know in the comments. So all the things that we were talking about were badge gear, Undermine style Outland supply crates, additional loot per boss, extra lockouts, Joyous Journeys, and maybe some light class tuning. So if you enjoyed any of this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe, and make sure to catch me on Twitch every single night. My name is Speedster Taxi, and I'm out. Peace.